GariTalks, what it do, y'all? Tissues on deck. Because I be crying. I was just having a wonderful conversation with myself, and I wanted to share some shit I came to. It was a lot, actually. I was talking to myself like, all right, sis, like, we clearly need to have an accountability conversation, because there's things that are not really working for me right now. For instance, it started really with so I smoke blunts. Even though it sometimes hurts in terms of the thump on the lungs, and also it's very grounding, and it works I feel like when I use it, for instance, if I trip and then I smoke a blunt at the end, it's very grounding and brings everything together, very integrated. Sometimes if I smoke a blunt or a spliff before doing work, I feel like I can communicate a lot more or receive a lot more. But then I feel like I also often overdo it. Like I feel like I actually don't even need to, the way I've been rolling nowadays, I don't even need to smoke a whole blunt to feel any kind of high. But instead, I will still face the whole blunt just because. And as I was talking to myself, I was like, what is that about? I do know the lungs are where your grief is, in terms of the emotions they regulate. And I am a sad person. And I'm like, yeah, every time you say that, here we are with the sad cycles. We back. Right? And I was thinking about, my relationship ending, because how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? So that was one thing that shifted, but that's not the only thing that I was doing that wasn't, especially learning about this fearful avoidant tendency of the push and pull, and a lot of the self-betrayal for comfort. That's what I really took at the heart of it. There's self-betrayal for comfort and security. So you trade yourself to be secure. That's how it feels to me. Because I think about a lot of the things I haven't said. Like, my mom called me yesterday and she asked me how I was feeling, and I said I was fine, even though I was fine, but when she called, I was not fine. And I didn't say that. So just this trading of my truth, my honesty, myself for somebody else's comfort or to stay comfortable. And I later did text her and was like, listen, I'm fine, but I am going through a lot of things right now, and there's a lot of things I want to say to you. So I was not expecting your call, and that's why it was kind of weird on the call. But, I'll talk to you when I'm ready. And she was like, thank you. So thinking about this blunts thing, I'm like, okay, so, here I am again doing a thing that doesn't, it feels good, but every time I think about it, I don't feel good about it. Because I noticed too, if I'm smoking from a pipe, for instance, it's a lot cleaner. It's it just feels a lot more elevated. And also just understanding my whole relationship with weed, period, right? Because I feel like I've gone through a lot of phases with it where I used it for comfort and was dependent on it. Because people talk about how weed isn't addictive. I think anything can be addictive, right? Because addiction is an emotion tied to a ritual, a pattern, an action, right? So you will keep doing the thing and getting the feeling and doing the thing and getting the feeling and keep going for that because your brain is literally wanting that. That's when you feel great. So I'm like, oh yeah, that's a whole thing to reevaluate, right? Am I doing a thing just because it's comfortable? Do I even want to do the thing, or is it just the comfort that's pulling me? Because comfort can pull you into very interesting places sometimes. And the connection piece for me that was like, oh, is me and freaking cheese. I am lactose intolerant AF. I have been for a very long time. And I remember finding out about lactate. That was cool. And then I hated the taste of it eventually. I also always kind of very much dislike that taste. And just tasting different kinds of lactose-free things. But then being like, yo, stop drinking milk. It's just not for you. And I really resisted, my God. I kept drinking milk up until early this year. And certain things, because it would be scales, right? So milk itself would be okay, but cream is a dub, right? Ice cream was okay, surprisingly, but also if I ate too much of it, I would get the bubbles and the farts. And what else was it? Cheese was okay, right? So then I was like, okay, cool. I cut out the cream. I eventually just transformed all the milk into like milk alternatives, so like nut milks. My favorite is oat milk, if y'all are ever wondering what kind of milk I like. Ice creams, I start eating Oatly ice cream, which is like iced oat cream. And then slowly but surely I was like, okay, so I cut out all the dairy, cool. I cut out all the milks because that was where it was giving me trouble before. Now I eat cheese. My stomach don't want that, but I'm still trying to eat cheese because it's so good. Pizza, are you kidding me? And I got lactate pills, right? Ate them, and it still makes my stomach feel unpleasant. So I'm like, wow, I'm really working hard to do a thing just because like I want to. Because you're allowed, and this is what I'm saying by like, we're allowed to do whatever we want. I feel like I've always said this. You can be whatever you want. You can become whoever you want. You can do all the things, right? You could be president if you wanted to. That might not be your path though, but you could do it. That's the whole free will thing, no? So recognizing for myself, like, damn, sis, like, you gotta let go of the cheese. That's been something I've been coming to for the past like month, 2 months. I'm really being like, but actually, because every time I'll be like, oh, like pizza, but then be like, because if this was a different thing, like if it was a nut allergy, you would not be able to eat that, period. So your stomach, just because it's not an allergy in the way that I recognize allergies, usually I'm like, oh, I'm still gonna eat it. But then realizing or learning that it can manifest in different ways, right? It could be more mucus, because dairy makes you produce more mucus, which for me, I don't need more mucus. So, especially, and tobacco produces mucus too. So, gotta cut out this mucus shit for myself. And so I was actually talking to myself too. This is the last piece. I was like, all right, so here we go. Let's talk about a thing. You don't like punishment. I agree. Right? Punishment is not the same as reformation. It's not actually transforming habits and behaviors. You just punishing somebody to think about the thing on their own, or to not think about it and then internalize it however they want to make meaning and internalize that, and then go on with their day, right? And usually there's like a I'm bad element to it, or I fucked up. And so I was like, okay, so we don't want to do punishment, but also what are the consequences? Because nobody's gonna do, like, of course, oh, I want to do the thing just because I want to do the thing. Yes, and also what happens when you don't do the thing? Like, okay, you're just fine, it's chilling. No, because then nothing gets done. So that's what I'm going to be spending today thinking about. I'm going to take a piece of paper, write out some of my goals, what needs to get done there, and how I will know that thing got done. And then I got to think about consequences. And I feel like a consequence is going to be something that I have kind of a little bit of resistance to doing, obviously. So for instance, like 25 push-ups. I could do 25 push-ups, but do I want to do 25 push-ups? Not particularly. I find that push-ups for me is actually a really good way to move my brain, because I think doing karate for so long, I did karate for like 5 years, and it was really intense, my teacher and everything. So, and our punishment, anytime we made a mistake, was to do 20 push-ups of our own integrity. So for instance, if you made a mistake and he didn't see you, you were expected to still do it. And if he did catch you, you would do 40. So, ideas. Maybe if it's not push-ups, I'm going to be thinking of something in that vein. Because I don't think, and I want it to be related to the thing, right? So if I don't send an email at a particular time, then I need to draft out, oh my God, I just thought of something. God damn it. I would have to draft out my first newsletter. As you can see, I feel a little dread about that. It's fun holding myself accountable. I've come to really accept that I'm a person that needs to talk to themselves. And I do now. Like, a lot. Because I've been doing it. Isn't this what this is? Hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Love you.